Welcome, everyone, to Podcast Theory Productions in association with High Desert Screening. Today, we have with us Mr. Michael Miller of 9 Point Productions. How are you, sir?
I'm well. Thank you very much, Jesse. How are you?
I'm wonderful. Thank you. So you have a couple of new upcoming projects that you're working with?
Well, new is not quite the way to describe either one of them.
Okay.
Both of them have been in process for an extremely long time. But yes, I do have two. One of them is called Rainbow Clouds. We are just about to wrap up filming the first episode of the pilot of a TV series that we are working on. And then I have one called Portalis that we are hoping to film in Portalis this summer. That, of course, depends on raising the funds. So we'll see how that turns out.
Ah, okay. And are you allowed to give us a glimpse of what they're about?
I am, I
Okay.
guess. Since theoretically I am the executive producer on both projects, I guess I can.
Okay, excellent.
One of them, the one that we're about to finish the series on, or the pilot for the series on, Rainbow Clouds, stems from interviews that our director and co-producer Edward Padilla did in 1985 with some 300 people who were affected by the AIDS crisis one way or another.
Oh, wow.
In other words, they were either people who had AIDS, people who were the caregivers for AIDS patients, or people who were just close to people affected by AIDS. So some 300 interviews turned into a stage play called Fallen Guardian Angels, which is running around the country at various times, but at least once a year, every year on AIDS Day. In that process, Edward's partner early on wanted to get the word out as much as possible. And as a result of that, people who were seeing the stage version suggested that he write a movie version. He did, and it's taken 3 or 4 years to get off the ground now. I joined the project a couple of years ago, and we've, because of one reason or another, COVID being a big factor, been delayed in finishing it. So we're hoping to finish the last 2 or 3 days of shooting here sometime in the next 30 days. And we're limited by the schedules of the actors and the crew involved.
Right.
Trying to work around their work schedule because, again, it's a low budget, no budget production. Teresa Longo is also a producer on the project, and she's the one who brought me on board to see if we could move it along a little quicker. The other project is a project that's been running since 1993, I think is the year. My wife wrote a short story about some folks in Southwest Texas that she knew and people that were related to her. I read the thing and thought, this could make an interesting movie.
Okay. So
I suggested to her that she write a screenplay, but not having written any kind of plays before, she wasn't quite sure about formatting. I said, well, just get it down on paper and I'll take care of the formatting. Sure enough, within, I think it's 48 hours, she had this project down. It's been known over the years as Jeep, Clunker, and now Portalis. Changed names for various reasons at various times, but we now have, again, the forward motion with the thing. Michelle Tomlinson will be directing for us, and a lot of people in this market have worked with her and know her. She is quite talented indeed. That's where we are with that project. The project is essentially a slice of life of a little town in Southwest Texas. My wife was born in Ballinger, and this is set in as of yet an unnamed city in Southwest Texas moving it now as a result of some decisions to keep it in New Mexico for the incentive purposes and other reasons to Portales. Portales looks a great deal like West Texas, and as a result, we can shoot there and give it that feeling that we want, and it's just the right size town for this particular story. It's a light comedy romance.
Okay.
Is what it is, and it is got a serious undertone, a secondary plot about an old man dealing with dementia and Alzheimer's. So his decision is, how does he live with this, or does he live with this?
Oh, okay.
It's a strong undercurrent to the main character's story. And I won't go into a whole lot more detail about it than that, except to say that it'll be a nice ride for everybody involved. There's no age limit. It'll probably be PG, just because some of the language, I think.
All right.
Beyond that, beyond that, I don't see any market restrictions in terms of ratings or anything like that. So it'll be a lot of fun. We've got a number of people attached to the project. Basil Hoffman has agreed to play the role of the elderly gentleman.
Oh, wow.
And so we'll see how that works out. Basil, of course, is one of America's top-notch character actors. He and I have been friends for a number of years, and when I mentioned the program, he was right on board, and has helped push this thing forward in a number of ways over the years. We probably will end up recasting it because when we had it cast, we did not find the money. There are other opportunities today, however, so we have a great deal of positive feeling about it. We just need to move the pieces in place and get them all together. So I think that's going to happen. We're going to use as many New Mexico people as we possibly can. We want it to be a woman's film, essentially. It was written by a woman, it's being directed by a woman, and we're going to try to cast it with a lot of women, but the crew I want to be mostly women. One of the things that I think is important is to support women filmmakers, and New Mexico women in film.
Yeah, absolutely.
Is there. So, and then of course this particular festival is headed by women.
Excellent.
The High Desert screening is the project of Carmen and Terry, and it's been a long time coming, but has run successfully for a couple of years now. So,
yeah, I like what they're doing over there.
Yeah, very proud to be a part of it.
Absolutely. So, do you have like a timeline or projected release date for these projects?
Your guess is as good as mine.
Okay. Okay.
And yes, we want to get Rainbow Clouds. We have some interested parties for distribution on Rainbow Clouds already, and we want to have the pilot up and done by mid to end of summer after it goes through post-production, because they've been waiting for a couple of years. If we hadn't had to deal with COVID, this thing would have been completed quite some time ago. We're still dealing with COVID, which is another element that slows down the forward motion.
Yeah.
So all in all, I'm thinking that's a good time to expect that it'll be released. The other film is still dependent, because it's in development, on how fast we can get the pieces put together again. The plan would be to begin shooting the 1st of June. It'll be a short project. Shooting it'll be easy to do. It's about 18 days, and then it'll be anywhere from 6 to 8 weeks after that, I suspect, for post to be completed. And then we will begin looking for distribution if we don't find it in the meantime.
Okay.
So your guess is as good as mine.
That sounds like those two are going to keep you busy for a while.
They are indeed.
Yeah.
And they do.
So I was looking through your bio, doing some research on you, and you are very, very accomplished in all the things that you've accomplished over the years. I was reading and I was like, oh my God, I'm not even worthy to talk to him. It's like, it's for anybody who might not know, Mr. Miller, he has a concentration in English theater, and he has works that's been published by the New York Times online and Boston Globe and Dallas Morning News and the ABQ Journal. And you're also a producer with 9 Point Productions, and you're also involved with theater, short films, TV, feature films, and you were known for Barb and Star Go to Vista Del Mar and the Silk Road, and also the Briar Patch. So that's
mostly accurate.
Mostly accurate. Okay.
I'm not sure about English theater. Not sure where that comes from. And the publications are based on my photography as opposed to any sort of writing. The writing comes from screenplays. I've got a number of projects that I've written in various forms. I've produced a lot of the shorts for 48 Hours at Duke City. Fairly eclectic background. So while you've just made me sound like I was some superhero, that's probably a little exaggerated, and certainly I talk to anybody. It doesn't really matter. So I appreciate the thought, but it's not really quite that extensive. But.
Okay. Now I was curious. You had some. The webpage I was looking at said you had some specialties, and one of them was energy leadership. Yeah. Just out of pure curiosity, what is that?
Energy. Well, energy leadership is about the different energy vibrations that we have. There's 6 layers or so.
Okay.
Of everything from a depressed all the way up to sort of almost euphoric. And we coach people in living at their highest vibration. It's part of the IPEC coaching school, which I attended a number of years ago. I don't do it as a coaching business, but at the same time, the standards and the processes that we use in that particular line of coaching, I use in terms of trying to bring the rest of my projects up to a higher vibration.
Okay, I was wondering if that's what that was about. That's okay. That's really awesome. And are you also a public speaker?
I am.
Okay. Is that something you're still active in, or?
I am. As a matter of fact, I am currently the area director for Area 13 for Toastmasters. If you want to know something about Toastmasters, get a hold of me. I'll be more than happy to introduce you to the project and the program and help you find a club that fits your personality and your lifestyle.
Oh, wow.
The purpose, of course, behind Toastmasters is to help us become better speakers and to give us a very solid basis in leadership so that when we go out into the real world, we are benefited in our businesses, we're benefited in just generally in public life. Now, let me point out that you should not use me as an example of a good speaker. One of the things that I've discovered since I got into Toastmasters is that I am not near as good a speaker as I thought I was. So I'm learning along with everybody else, and all of the ums and ahs and ers and stuff I need to get rid of.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's like a little tick of a lot of people, I believe.
It is. It is. And it's in a lot of different places you wouldn't expect. People you think are good speakers. Listen to the newscasters on some of the local and national television. They have a tendency sometimes to insert a lot of what we call filler words while they do their thinking. Now, my early days were spent in radio, and the last thing you want to do in radio is have dead air. And so we picked up these filler words to sort of spill over while we were thinking of our next comment in radio, and it's kind of stuck with me. So it's a lifelong habit that I am struggling to break.
Yeah, I could see that. Dead air is really expensive. You really get in trouble for that.
Well, it depends on how long it goes on.
Yeah.
One of my stories that I use in Toastmasters is about an experience I had in radio where the dead air was literally dead air for 20 minutes.
Ooh.
Yeah. I got off lucky on that one. I had a very, very compassionate and understanding station director or station manager at the time, whose only concern was I going to fix it? Was it going to happen again? And no, it wasn't. 1966 or 67, I believe it was, Bobby Gentry had a hit called The Ode to Billy Joe.
Oh.
The Ode to Billy Joe runs 4 minutes and 37 seconds. At least that version of it did. It's been cut different ways now, but 4 minutes and 37 seconds. At the time, I was driving back and forth between Las Cruces and El Paso while going to school, and that one night, the Ode to Billy Joe put me to sleep.
Oh, no.
For 20 minutes. I woke up just in time to sign off the radio station. The next day, I went in to see the manager, a fellow, just a really nice guy. His name was Jack Rye. And I said, I fell asleep last night. He said, yes, I figured that out. I was out of bed and on my way to the station when I heard you come back on. And so I turned around and went home. I said, oh, okay. And I'm shaking, figuring that's the end of the job. And Jack looked at me. He said, is it going to happen again? No, not going to happen again. And it hasn't happened since, at least not on the air.
Beautiful. That is awesome. That's awesome. Thank you. So if you don't mind, I'll read off a couple of these specialties here. So we already spoke about the energy leadership and the public speaking, but it says also actor coaching, character acting, line producer, and also the UPN producer.
UPM.
Okay. I'm not sure. What is that?
Unit production manager.
Unit production manager. Okay. So director, obviously screenwriter. You've dealt with budgeting and screenwriting with EP and also headshots and photography.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay. So you've kind of dabbled in a lot there.
As I said, I've had a very eclectic background, but a lot of that just sort of fits together.
Okay.
The first group of titles, if you will, jobs, if you will, are film jobs that at one point or another, depending on which film I'm in or have been associated with, I've performed, not necessarily all of the time. I tell people that I'm an actor first before anything else. My mother was, when she was 2 years old, danced in little vaudeville shows with her grandfather. My father and mother were both in theater, community theater, while I was growing up. I became involved in theater. I've been working at most of the theaters in Albuquerque at one point or another, either as an actor, a director, or a crew member, and got into film, and got back into film, if you will, in 1997, and have been doing film ever since. So one of the things that I do have is a decent historical vision about what's happened with the film business and the incentive in the last 20 some odd years. And the one thing that I keep trying to stress to people is we have folks coming to town all the time who want it done now. Well, it doesn't work that way. It took us 20 years to get to where we are now, maybe a little over 20 years, with everybody struggling in one way or another to make movies, to be part of the bigger movies coming in. Now, with the work of a number of fine film people through the years, Netflix, of course, has opened major production facility here, has NBC Universal, and a number of the other film companies are still filming here. But what's happened over the years is when they first came to town, we didn't have much of a crew base, a real crew base. And so they were bringing in crews from out of town, and we worked and worked and worked to learn the craft and to develop members of the crew. IATSE 480 did a wonderful job with that. And now a lot of the crew who began in those days are the main crews on most of the big productions coming in. A lot of the producers and directors will bring in their own key people still, and a lot of them will use the people here in New Mexico as keys. So we've advanced to this point. The actors have begun to get more and more roles and bigger roles. True, we are limited to local casting at the moment because directors and casting directors who do the principal casting on roles are in LA or New York or someplace in Atlanta. Okay. So the leads get cast out of those areas, and then we get to do the co-star roles, if you will. We're working on getting the level of acting up to where they will begin considering the New Mexico actors as guest stars and perhaps leads in some of the TV series and some of the movies. So it's a process. And as I said, it's taken us 20 years to get to this point. It's moving a little faster, so I don't think it's going to take another 20 years, but we can't rush it.
Right.
It will come in its time.
Yeah.
And we just need to keep it moving forward.
Absolutely. Well, sir, I think that's about all the time the software is going to give me. So,
well, that's good.
Yeah, the free version of Zoom is only going to give me 30 minutes, I think. Well, but I want to say thank you for your time, and I appreciate you doing this interview. And like I said, I think Carmen's going to have this up on the High Desert Screening Facebook page, I believe she told me. So
okay.
I'll email this off to her when we get done, and you can find it there if you're wanting to watch it. And for anybody out there listening, that's where it will be, I believe.
All right. Very good.
So thank you again for joining me. I appreciate it. It was good talking to you again. It's been a couple years.
It has been.
And hopefully I'll get to see you again soon. Maybe when we do the screening there again.
It depends on, I guess, whether the screening is going to be live or whether it's going to be virtual.
Okay.
So, but yes, if it's live, I'll be there.
Wonderful. I look forward to it.
Great. Jesse, thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Miller, and have a beautiful rest of your weekend, and take care of yourself, and hopefully I will talk to you soon.
Indeed.
All righty, sir.
Stay safe. Be well.
Thank you. You too.